to bring this meeting to order. I want you to know that I've missed you all, even though it's only been about 5 or 6 weeks. Grab a piece of candy and let's get to work. So, with that, the flag salute, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And do we have any adjustments to the agenda?
We do. Staff resignations and adult work pieces. Deborah Grant at Tech 3 at Combs Regional Middle School. This is under new business 7D, staff resignations. Also, Emily Dyer, grade 7, social studies, Combs Regional Middle School. Nominations: add Mariah Painter, 8th grade ELA in Combs Regional Middle School. Leif Erickson, special education, Somerset. Denise Bates, grade 2, Somerset. Appointments: add Pamela Lufkin, cook. Amanda Osborne, Ed Tech 1, special ed. Alicia Neal, Ed Tech 3, special ed. Those all three are at EDS. And a transfer: Christy Harmon, Ed Tech 2 to Ed Tech 3 at Combs Regional Middle School.
Thank you very much. At this time, I will entertain a motion for the minutes of the June 22nd meeting.
So moved.
We hear a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion on that motion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Those opposed? It passes. Moving along to public comment. If there is anybody in the audience that would like to address the board, this is the time to do so. We ask that you give us your name and the town that you live in. And we also ask that we keep things as generic as we can, because if you're speaking about a person, they do have a right to be here, and we would not know that until you speak, but we will go from there. So if there's anybody in the audience that would like to address the board, please do so. Nothing? Moving on. Reading of communications.
I'm going to send one down the side over here. This is just a response to our special ed review. It's quite a process to go through, and the DOE found that we were in pretty good shape, and a new director to come on and get through that process with new staff members and look over every folder that we have. It's quite a process, so we just scanned through that letter, kind of reports back from the DOE on how we did on that process, which was pretty good. There's bench audits that when they actually come in and look at the files. It's quite an in-depth process when you go through a DOE special ed review, so it's good to get that message back from them.
Anything else?
No, for communication.
Okay. Superintendent board communications, nothing. Moving on to reports.
Yeah, I was keep waiting for my emails to see if everybody's going to show up tonight. I know rainy weather sometimes brings us in, and hot weather I just stay home, so it is great to see all of you. I hope you had a great month off. We are going to start ramping up with some committees. So I appreciate it when I know ahead of time whether you're going to be here or not. And again, I can just keep track, and I can excuse you at a meeting if you already know ahead of time that you're going to be out. I know you guys are busy as much as anybody else is with everything else going on in your life. Obviously, right now we've been doing a lot of hiring. I can tell you that that's in everybody's mind. Some of our schools are all full in terms of some of the class teachers. However, we do have some ed techs and some custodians and some of those other pieces that you'll see that we need to continue to fill. I have met with, I had a nice visit the other day with the hometown of the Sebasco Valley president and Sherry Tardy and another woman. They came in, they just wanted to know how they could support us. It was a nice visit. They have a class, like a medicine class over at MCI for maybe some of our high school kids that don't want to be involved in a full tri-county program in the health trades, but maybe we could offer another opportunity over there. They wanted to know how our health center was going, and then just in any way that they could help and support us, which was nice. I think people are getting back out and making connections as much as they possibly can. I would say that my first ask of them was to try to come up with something for vaping. in terms of something we could send our kids to, you know, how we've been dealing with this. Is there an educational component that they could come and help support us with when we are faced with those students who are making that choice? And they, you know, it's easy for us to lecture them, but is there something they can do on their end, educationally, that would help us? Brian Levitt and I are still working on the welding program. We've submitted $175,000 worth of parts and pieces that would put the welding together. And he's got initial approval for the welding program. However, now we have to put all the funding pieces together, and a lot of that's Perkins money. And it's, again, you kind of got to put the money up, and then you get the money back from the state. So it's still an exciting program, but it's going to be a big lift for a few people. We may need to do some things publicly to raise dollars, but I think it's going to be a neat project once we go on to have 8 or 10 booths over there and, you know, add to our tri-county opportunities. I did go to the One Book, One Community author visit. That was pretty cool to listen to an author and how they put ideas together. If you read the book, she doesn't really pick. She's a middle school teacher, loves kids, loves to write, and her ideas just kind of bounce around in her head. And I never really talked to an author in terms of how they go about doing it. She just says things come to her. She has conversations with different people about kids, and none of those kids are really specific kids in that book that she came to think about, but it's just a piece of each one of those kids that she came in. So it was really neat. I think it was a great opportunity for us to read a book. I hope we do it again. I think Joanne's planning it again, but it was kind of neat to go down there and hear her. One thing, I don't want to drag it on too long, but in terms of, we went to the Commissioners Conference right after we got out of school, and as you know, hiring is on the forefront of everything that we're doing. And what we talked about as superintendents, we talked through the Department of Education and the Department of Labor, is trying to set up a mentor program for some of our teachers. And Stella's working on this again too. It's like putting together a set of classes where our own employees who may want to go from an Ed Tech 1 to an Ed Tech 2 to an Ed Tech 3, or want to be an Ed Tech 3 and they want to go into teaching, and they have to, I've had this happen before, if they want to become a teacher, they have to stop what they're doing and lose their income and then do their student teaching. So the Department of Labor is trying to come up with a program where we can have mentors in our buildings that support them, just like they would an electrician, a journeyman plumber or something like that, where they don't have to stop their employment to continue their education. And it may be that they stop at Ed Tech 2 after being in Ed Tech 1, but we want to get a core set of classes that we can actually have a cohort of our own employees that we can grow. Because what we found is that some of the people that want to be in our community that start out with Ed Techs want to go to a teacher, and they don't want to move away necessarily, but they need that gap. We got to try to develop some relationships with the Department of Labor, hopefully Farmington, maybe Humane Augusta, Thomas, whoever we can, to make sure that we get a core set of classes. And so as that develops, and like I said, Stella's working on that a lot with us too, make connections with Farmington, because they want to do a special ed one, which not everybody's going to go into special ed, but at least it gets them a pathway. And even, we're going to pay for classes for Ed Techs, we might as well pay them, and then what happens in this, and Gorham's doing it right now, an Ed Tech will take a class on a Monday night, and then they'll be using exactly what they learned Monday night in the classroom the next day. And the teachers notice that those Ed Techs are gaining skills and more competencies as they go through those classes. So it's definitely an automatic on-the-job training to boost our own people within our community. So that's something I'm pretty excited about, but it's going to take a little bit of work to get there. Other than that, I can explain some more of our hiring. It's been a little crazy this summer, but that'll come out through the rest of the meeting.
Any questions from us? Moving on, as the chair, I have really nothing to report other than the committee list went out. David, thank you very much. I made a big boo-boo on it, and he brought it to my attention. I said, I looked that list over 3 or 4 times, thought it was A-okay, and David had to find a mistake, which, thank you very much.
I'm sure Tanya didn't want to go to extra meeting, so.
And with that, Mike and I have been talking in the last day or two, and we think that it might be nice for a few of our school board meetings to be held in different schools, because I'm sure that there are some people that have never been to some of the schools that we have. And so I hope that is acceptable. If it isn't, please let Mike and I know. But starting in September, we will go to our first school, which we haven't decided what the first school is, but that way we can get around and see all the different things and have a clear picture of what's going on in a building.
Yeah, I think I'll be back, but just.
I was just wondering about the committees. So I was placed on the same committees I was on last year. Is that historically what happens, is that you're in the exact same ones?
Unless you don't want to be on a certain
Well,
committee.
I'll be on anything, but I didn't sign up for my first 3 choices to be in those because I was trying to get my knowledge broadened with school board associations. So just maybe for next time if I can have a different aspect of it.
Absolutely. And it may be something that you can talk to the other two from further, and maybe they would be willing to move around too. Anything else?
Was anybody adamantly opposed to going to the other buildings? Because we may not be on TV, but I think it's really neat to be able to see the school that you're in and that we talk about all the time, but you may not have ever been in. So if you are adamantly opposed, just let us know. But I think we'll do a real quick one before it gets cold and nasty, and maybe we could even start over at Sebastian, because everybody kind of knows where that is. We'll figure it out.
I think we should do Etna first.
Etna first.
That way we're not doing it in the winter.
Okay.
Well, it's the outlier that knows.
That's what I was thinking.
Really? There's
Yeah.
there's one way far away. That's really far from my house.
Which one?
Heartland.
Heartland's
okay.
not close, is it?
Yes.
Depends on
Well,
where
I
you're
know
at.
you're here, but I'm
Depends on where you're coming from.
Exactly, see? I'm coming from Etna.
It's 2.5 miles from my
I
house.
don't care anyways. I think it's a
All
good
right.
idea though, actually.
Good, thank you very much. Moving along, reports of special committees, and as you see, there's not many meetings that have occurred, but policy looks like they've got some business that needs to be addressed.
I would make a motion that we accept for second reading the chemical hygiene plan.
Second?
A motion and a second on the floor to accept it as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Opposed? It passes.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
in terms of the Dixmont and the Building Committee, we are meeting tomorrow night at that location.
Excellent.
So if anybody has dying urge to see that structure, feel free to come to the Building Committee.
Wait to see the bathroom. That is
Her stuff.
Without going through every single committee that has not met, is there any committee chair that wants to speak on their committee, or if they have a date for their next meeting, they might want to give that word out today?
Next budget meeting is September 19th, I believe.
Thank you. Anything else? Moving on, there is no old business, but we have plenty of new business. And the first on the docket is the hiring of the principal for Nokomis Regional High Middle School.
Yeah, this was not one that I anticipated having to go through. I realize it's a big position. Had I had a different time of the year, I would have definitely brought this way prior to making a decision, but I felt like it was very important for the students and staff and everybody to get going as soon as possible. And also, sometimes when you have an administrator, they're in a contract and they don't get released as early as our candidate did. But he is here tonight. I just wanted to go through the official process. I have not made any public announcement that this, other than what's kind of come out on Facebook and those types of things. And you know, I don't do Facebook, so my announcement's not going to come out on Facebook. It's going to come out tomorrow in some other way. So we had a great committee as far as I was concerned. Karina was on it. We had 3 teachers. We had Lori, myself, we had Scott, and Jean. So we had a representation of a lot of different grade levels. And actually, when we put it together, it was all the communities. I think Scott was thoughtful, and I were thoughtful in that way. So we had 8 candidates. We interviewed 3. David rose to the top. He's got a tremendous amount of experience in middle school instruction in terms of multiple grade levels and multiple content areas. Last year he was the assistant principal at the high school at a neighboring district, so we're really excited to have him on board. And like I said, he's got his feet wet a little bit. There's a lot to learn about this job. It's a big job, and I haven't sugarcoated that for him, but it's a cool job. Once you get started and once you learn all the insides and outs. So I would take questions on the process, the candidate. I know you want to hear a couple of words from Dave, or at least see Dave, so you know what we're talking about. It's in the tie right there.
You should have a motion first.
I'll make a motion that we go through with the hiring process. I second it.
Can I hear a second?
Susan?
Susan. All right, any discussion on the motion? And we would love to hear from you.
Good, like
Nothing deep, Dave. Just
I guess just give you a quick heads up, I'm David Page. Last year I was the assistant principal at Mountview High School. I've been teaching since 1995. I started as a middle school teacher down in North Berwick at Noble Junior High School at the time. Kind of been all over the state, so I've been teaching mostly primarily middle school for about 25 years. Last year, like I said, was my first gig into administration, and I saw this opening over the summer, and I actually looked through the staff, and I knew some people, and thought that'd be a really exciting opportunity to have the opportunity to lead my own school. So I took the opportunity and went through the hiring process, and they're not joking. It's a big curve. I came in last week and kind of got settled in the office, and then starting yesterday, these guys started throwing things at me, and there's a lot. So I'm a little, not overwhelmed, but I'm finding there's a lot more to it than I thought there would be at first, but I'm pretty excited for the opportunity. So Mount View, I think we have a lot of similarities between the two communities. We're very large geographically, and I think our socioeconomic piece is quite similar. So like I said, I'm excited to work with these students here at Nokomis and get started. So thank you for the opportunity.
Any questions? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion? Those opposed? Welcome aboard.
Thank you all very much.
Thanks, Dave. B is the motion to transfer fund balance. This again was during our budget process and on the warrant articles. This was approved, but you guys actually have to make a motion to be able to do this action.
So moved.
Second.
Veronica, second. All right, there's a motion and second on the floor to transfer fund balance to capital reserve. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Those opposed? And it passes.
And as you know, that's a huge deal for us to be able to set aside that size of amount of money, but I've been telling you, you know how big our buildings are now, and you know that we could use, we're going to be talking about boilers tomorrow, we could be talking about roofs, so it's really nice to be able to have that. Joe and you have done a nice job putting that together. We want to get it to a certain amount, and hopefully we can have to set that aside, but boy, it's nice to be able to have that just in case.
Where are we at currently, roughly?
1.5 at least.
Okay, yeah, that makes
Maybe
sense.
2 million. Maybe.
Yeah, we don't want to go
That is a
backwards.
comforting feeling.
Yes, we do not want to go backwards.
Very comforting.
That was not popular.
Because we've done 500,000 a couple times, and then this is
Yeah.
750. We haven't spent any big chunks that you've asked us to, so we've got to be almost. And I'll get a number for next time when Joe was at Hershey Park, Pennsylvania, enjoying his vacation. Hopefully it didn't rain. It didn't rain on Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Moving along, Lori and Stella with the summer school reports.
So we had a very successful summer programs this year. We served 177 students in summer programs in K through 8. The programs included kindergarten jump start, math and ELA interventions, and enrichment opportunities. And some of the enrichment opportunities are really cool, and that really gets kids engaged and excited about school and coming back in the fall. Just a sample of some, team building, physical fitness activities, camp-like activities such as skits and improv and icebreakers for group activities, and critical thinking activities like an escape room, survival scenarios, and time travel, those were all really well attended. Students were provided breakfast and lunch, and the transportation was provided through the ESSER 3 grant, which is the America Rescue Plan grant. And having transportation really makes a big difference in making sure that all kids who want to go have that opportunity. It really does help boost our attendance for summer programs. KJS, again, the pre and post data on that, it is always proved to us how beneficial. 89% of the students met the benchmark for letter ID, 78 for letter sound fluency, and 78 for concept about print. And those are all those important foundational skills that we hope to really have embedded in students' learning when they enter kindergarten. So it's always good news when we see those percentages of students meeting those benchmarks. We don't have the spring to fall data on, so we will have, when the state releases all the data, what we also look at is what students' NWA scores were in the spring, and then we look at their fall scores to see if they maintained the goal of summer programming is to help students maintain where they're at when they left school, because summer slide is very common, and we're just trying to help those students who need that extra boost, keep them where they are. And all students in K through 4 and Title I students in 5 through 8 receive summer mailings throughout the summer. And that's another program that has really proven that close to 90% of students who receive those and read at home don't have that summer slide. So we're really excited about how many students have really had an opportunity to participate in all this. And 100% have gotten the books the last 2 summers in elementary, and all the Title I students in 5 through 8.
So in addition to the students that were in Lori's program, we had 41 students who met the qualifications through DOE for regression and summer slide to be in our ESY program for special education. Out of the 52 that were invited, 47 showed over 90% of the time during summer school, so that was a really good turnout this year. Again, the transportation does a lot for that. Our elementary students engaged in reading, writing, and math activities, as well as a focus on social skills, peer interactions, and those type of things that they regress on over the summer where they're not with their peers. Our middle school students received a summer dose of our leveled literacy program, which Lori and the coaches provide for them. So they had some really small group, rigorous instruction in literacy and some of those foundational reading and math skills during the summer ESY to try to make sure that to bridge the gap between summer and then coming back to school. And then they also built some competency in foundational math and writing skills. Do you want me to share them?
Homeless.
Okay. So we go into next year, this isn't as good data, but we go into next year with 61 homeless students still. Over the summer, we provided clothing and basic necessities to at least 32 of those families and connected them to outside support agencies and other resources. We partnered with 3 neighboring districts this summer to provide either some kind of support, transportation to summer services, or other resources for temporarily displaced students that are in our county or in our towns that are actually district to other district areas and neighboring towns. Next week, we are finishing setting up a hygiene closet at the high school, which will be equipped to provide our students who don't have proper water and those kind of things in their home situations. We have some that are living in tents and those kind of things at the high school who need access to hygiene supplies and all of those kind of things. So we're finishing that closet next week, as well as beginning to deliver backpacks to families who need school supplies and those type of things for students who don't have those resources to return to school.
Stella also blew out a tire up in Sebec Lake and had to stand on the side of the road while she was servicing some kids for special ed for homeless. She also spent all day Saturday trying to get kids food and a place to stay at Lovely. So she's working really, really hard, and she won't tell you that. I find that out through everyone and some of my sources in my office, that she's out and about on Saturdays trying to keep those kids fed and someplace to stay, and 66 is a lot. I mean, because you know there's probably a few more that we don't know about, but we'll keep you updated on it.
Has that number vastly increased since last year? Because it seems like it's a lot more.
We finished the year with 50-ish,
I think it was 50 or something.
It's higher than it's been since my history in the last 7 years here. It's seriously higher than.
We do have a number of refugee students who are coming here from the Ukraine now. We have a total of 10 that will be starting in our school system next year. So those students are they're attempting to find places for those students who are coming from the Ukraine as well, who are essentially homeless when they come, trying to find a place and resources.
Chad?
First, I'd like to say thank you, Stella, and Lori. Did I miss it? Did you go over the number of students that participated in Kindergarten Jumpstart and their attendance levels for the schools?
Yeah, I haven't gotten all the attendance data yet for that. We had 28 students who participated in Kindergarten Jumpstart. And I did go over
Just in 2 schools.
And I did go over, if I can repeat that, the results of students who met.
That's good. That's good.
There was only 2 schools that participated in that?
So Somerset was unable to find a teacher for the 25-day program, so we morphed KJS. We were able to find a teacher who was willing to work the 16-day summer enrichment program that we were offering for the other students in our school. So we did serve 15 children coming into kindergarten. It's just we really can't call it KJS because we didn't do the 25 days. But we did do a get ready for kindergarten program. We had 3 students that attended 13 out of 16 days, and the other 12 students attended all 16 days. So we had a good turnout for that program, just we can't call it KJS because we didn't follow KJS's norms.
Just throwing out there, maybe next year we could increase the stipend for KJS teachers.
Try, but I think it's an hourly rate. It's pretty okay for if you want to. Go ahead.
So the issue in our building is not the pay, it's that they did not want to work 25 days. They wanted to work 16 days. So it was about having a break and a deep breath in between the school. It was not about pay. They're really happy with the hourly pay that's offered in the summer right now.
We got a good rate right now in the summertime because it's the grants.
I'm sure that it is beneficial to have a teacher in that school teach, but maybe we can open it up to other teachers in other buildings so that we can.
Yeah, the problem is that you have to be trained in the KJS too.
Right.
So, and the training piece is difficult now for us to find, and that is a bugaboo. The big bugaboo though is really it's the 25 days. You know, we start right when school gets out, and teachers, it's been a tough year, so people want a break. 16 days is nice, and KJS goes Monday through Friday, and summer school goes Monday through Thursday, so you have that 3-day weekend, but KJS, they never miss a day. As far as attendance in our building, I'm going to say it was probably 95%. The kids love it. It was great. Summer school was really, really fun this year. So. Great.
And we did offer to train somebody in district. I think people were tired, and so we didn't get any takers. And we've already talked about starting earlier in the year, trying to offer that training in district and hope to get maybe even more than one person trained in each school. So if something comes up and somebody can't, we would have that backup person.
Being a huge proponent of Kindergarten Jumpstart since its inception, I feel bad to think that, we might not be doing it. So maybe there needs to be a conversation amongst the administrators on how we can morph that program into our own program, not call it Kindergarten Jumpstart, but offer something extremely beneficial and have it 16 days instead of 25. Because I'm still pushing for the next level.
Thank you very much.
Anything else for these ladies?
I just wondered what is our target group for the enrichment programs? Does that run the same way as summer school? I've never heard of it until people started saying this summer, like, oh, my son's going to, it's a targeted group, or it's not open to the whole public, all students?
It starts with title. You know, we offer it to title students, and then we look at, you know, where they're at academically too. Ours was run differently. It wasn't enrichment as much as it was academic, although we did have enrichment. And one of our enrichment things came from the Maine Discovery Museum. They sent scientists there to work with the kids. So but that was the science piece. But we start by looking at title, which there's a lot of kids, and then we offer it out from that. And it also depends upon teachers for that too. We were lucky this year, we had a kindergarten going into first grade and second grade and going into third grade and fourth grade. And that's the year before that we didn't have that. So it just depends again on if you have teacher coverage.
I just noticed specifically at the middle school, they had some really cool programs, but I didn't know how word got out or what the focus group was supposed to be for that.
It was invitational, it was...
I know, it's like, how'd you know about it?
So we put it up to the teachers first. As Jane said, it was a title, it starts with a title program, but I couldn't really give you any specifics. When it came to, did we look at grades top first, or did we look at need within academics and outside of academics? Historically, I can tell you I saw a lot of the kids that we've seen for the past 2 or 3 years, so I guess that was a part of it as well. The need was still there.
There was a good number of special education students in the
Certainly.
enrichment program who don't necessarily meet the DOE qualifications for regression to go to the ESY program, but who also need the enrichment, so they were able to land into that program as well.
Anything else? Moving along to staff resignations.
We had Angela Brown, principal at Homeless Regional Middle School, Adam Edwards, physical education, Pastor Bell, elementary school, Tyree O'Donnell, school nurse, EDS, Jordan Neal, grade 7 math, Comas Regional Middle School, Tracy Dupre Cook, Comas Regional High School, Regional High and Middle School, Deborah Grant at Tech 3, and Emily Dyer, social studies. I can tell you that Mr. Edwards got closer to home, Tyree got a daily job, more money. Jordy Neal went to the private sector, from my understanding. Tracy, I don't know what she did. Debbie Grant, I think had been doing that for quite a while. And Emily Dyer went back to her alma mater.
That one does not require any action.
No.
Okay. Moving on to staff nominations.
This group is Alice Marshall, grade 4, EDS, big 1-year position. Andy Hopkins, physical education. He's a Nokomis grad. Nicholas Avery, social studies, comes down from Old Town. Myra Liam Forte was special ed, she was an ed tech for us, and that world language is going to be sign language, which is kind of something that's going to be unique. And I talked to her this morning, and she's really excited about that. Linda Snow, I'm sure some of you know her name. She's worked with over in the Pittsfield area and also Skowhegan, a vast knowledge of and experience. And I met with her this morning, and she seems just as excited to go back in the classroom as anybody. She has worked with Dean Neo. She did work K-8 in Warsaw. I think she said it was funny. Side story would be she had Evelyn students. Jamie's our payroll specialist. She had Jamie. So it was like when she came in the office, it was like old home. So I think it's going to be exciting for Ellen to have her over at Somerset.
She really is wonderful. Not only is she very talented, she's very energetic too.
Well, I could go, again, I met her for 10 minutes and that's all the stuff I learned. She says she's got a bunch of boxes of stuff that she has for like costumes and stuff like that. She likes to work, obviously movement and music, but also some art into her classroom. So she's, like I said, she's completely ready to be done. Mariah Painter's ELA here at the Coles Regional Middle School. Lee Ferrickson, a special ed. He's worked in one of the regional programs close by. And Denise Bates was a ed tech, and she's moving into the classroom.
Do those need action?
That does, they need a motion.
Do I hear a motion? No. Yes, motion.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Motion and second on the floor. Discussion.
So with the world language, are we still offering French and all of the other foreign languages?
So I'll have Mary come and confirm that, but I know we're definitely have Shaughnessy still doing Spanish. And what they're going to try to do is take a look at those kids that need French 2 with that second year, and that's going to be a priority, whether it's, and I don't want to speak out of turn too much, but I think it would be Shaughnessy or somebody picking up that. So those students that do need a second year of a language get that opportunity. So I know that's a focus for Mary, and then another student who may want to pick up, as an elective and wants to do the world language, they could do that. But I know Mary wants to focus on those kids that don't get left in a bind because we don't have the second year of French. And I know some of you who commented on we want to make sure kids know that if they're going to go to a 4-year college, they potentially need those 2 years. So how do we set up that combination for them? Does that answer your question?
Yep, so essentially, this will only be American Sign Language.
For that teacher, yeah. And then we'll have to fill in for those students that need a second year. And but if we need to do more information from Mary, maybe we'll see how this goes, and maybe we need to go back and try to, it was very hard for her to find a French or another world language teacher.
Because American Sign Language won't count, right towards college credits, or does it?
It does at EMCC.
It does.
That's set for some colleges.
Having a deaf grandchild is very exciting.
Yes, absolutely.
Because we are still in that bind of, this is my son's second year trying to get into Spanish, and he still didn't make it because they were just way overbooked.
Yeah. I'm absolutely thrilled that ASL is being brought back to Nokomis. It was a huge deal when I was in high school. I did 4 years of it. I absolutely enjoyed it. And if you really look at our communities, we need it because we do have a really large deaf community in RSU 19. So this is really exciting. And not to mention, Mrs. Leon Forte is flipping amazing. She's so good with her students. Yeah, I love her. So I'm excited.
And finding translators and all that is very difficult. So very lucky that you could even have someone that could teach that, honestly.
Is she certified ASL?
Yes, she is. And the only reason I know that is because I tried to hire her at folk rehab. Long time ago. I still mention it here and there.
Speaking of, we should finish this, but folk rehabs, now that we have 22-year-olds, folk rehab is something that we're going to have to do internally. And I looked at her today and I said, you have folk rehab as masters. How do you feel about?
Yeah, that's a great idea.
So maybe we could help the students that you need and the adults that you need help with, because
All right.
she's got that.
Any other discussion on this motion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Those opposed? It passes. Staff appointments.
Yes, still stuck on conversations I had this morning. Jennifer McCabe, Jennifer Mabey, Ed Tech 1, Special Ed Somerset. Heather Rice Soper, Ed Tech 3, Special Ed SEL at EDS. Kimberly Cox, Ed Tech 3, Special Ed EDS. Katie Pinkham, Ed Tech 3, Intervention at EDS. Michael Cray, coming back as a van bus driver, and we need to let you know that that is a person related to a board member, and he's worked for us before, so it shouldn't be a conflict, but he is related to one of our board members. Pamela Lufkin Cook, Amanda Osborne, Ed Tech 1 Special Ed, Alicia Neal, Ed Tech 3 Special Ed EDS.
No action on that? When here?
Other than whether the first, Jen, you okay with us discussing Mike briefly?
No, he's supposed to transform my kid.
Okay, you want me to remove that nomination?
No.
He could put him on a bus. Mike, you guys all know that? Yeah.
Any addition, he can bring regardless to the thousand if I was.
He does, he brings a lot, Mike Craze, that's been back and forth with us, and I think we actually had somebody who's out for 6 months for a health reason, so he's at the top of the list already. Transfers, Shannon Neal, Ed Tech 2, Special Ed to long-term sub for Special Ed teacher at Somerset. Heather Roberts, Ed Tech 2, Special Ed at Coleman Street Middle School to long-term sub for Special teacher at Bassett Valley Elementary School. Adam Grant, Ed Tech 2 to Special Ed at Coleman Street Middle School to EDS. Rachel Haviland, Ed Tech 2, Special Ed, Ed Tech 3 at the Coleman Street Middle School. Jeannie Carroll Foss, Ed Tech 1, Special Ed, Ed Tech 2, EDS. Karen Nason, Ed Tech 1, Special Ed, Ed Tech 3 at EDS. And Christine Harlan, Ed Tech 2 to Ed Tech 3 at the Coleman Regional Middle School. And I can tell you that again, at 1380 being your bottom entry-level position with no experience is very difficult for our administrators to compete with somebody who might want to come and become involved in education, but it's just physically not possible. So I know it's going to be on the table for negotiations, but that doesn't make it any easier, because even if you go up a couple dollars, you're still competing with some of the people who can around us that are making 16 and 17, and it goes all the way up through the scale. So it's a big nugget when you have the number of employees we have. Stella, you had 60-something ed techs you're trying to hire. You know, we look over at Pittsfield and their custodians are making $1 more, and we lost 2 custodians to them, but they have a small number of custodians, so that may not be a big bucket of money. But when we have 500 and something employees, you go up $1, even if you just throw that out as a number. Joe and I are looking at $500,000 to raise the money. It's got to happen because we don't have the employees, but there's going to be a rub. Just so you know that in the back of your mind when we get back into to our committees, but also when you realize we don't have some people in our buildings, but it's because if you can go to Pittsfield and make $1 more to be a custodian in a small building or whatever, what have you, that's just the economics of it. It's not that people aren't. I mean, Stella called, she called 6 people in the last couple of days, and she's getting 1 out of 6, and they're just, I can't. I'd love to come work for you, but I can't. I mean, you can't change it. I just want you to know the dynamic, that we're not trying as really hard as we possibly can. And I don't tell you anything you don't know, that it's every group of people is struggling to find people to work for. So,
You roll. Done.
So do we not have primary special ed teachers at Somerset or Sebastica?
We lost a couple at Sebastica, and we've had some other personnel challenges in their lives, so that we've got those backfilled right now. They're covered. And we actually tried to hire a spare, and that person's already on. Can work for us. Just
Anything else? Future agenda items.
Before we get to that one, do we have numbers right now, student enrollment numbers right now?
I wouldn't say they're solid right now, because I've got superintendent's agreements for 4 kids coming in as of this morning that I have on my desk. I know this is about the time that we'd know that, because
October 1st, I think.
well, we can try to get some type of as soon as I get something in September, like if we're up, we're down, I can get a ballpark, but I don't know, Patty, we have, in the summertime, Patty does the enrollment, and not the secretary, they're in and out, so the next couple of weeks, we'll be rocking and rolling and trying to get that number settled. I don't have it right now.
Okay, thanks.
Anything else? Future agenda items, anybody got any burning desire for topics? If not, and you come up with something, please email me. We'll go from there. Our next meeting is in September, as if you didn't know that already. Just one moment. It looks like it is going to be September 12th, and Mike and I'll let you know what school we're going to travel to. Anything else before we adjourn? Good night.
Will you be able to tell us where the meeting will be next month?
Right now?
Have you decided which school it will be?
No, not yet.
Okay. Will that be published ahead of time?
Yes, we'll publish where we are, yes. When the agenda comes out and everything, as soon as we know the place, we'll get it out there so people know where exactly where it is.
Thank you.
You're welcome.